Have you ever stopped to think about how well you really know yourself? This question is more profound than it appears at first glance. It's not simply about knowing what foods you like or what music gets your foot tapping. It delves deeper into the realms of behaviors, habits, emotional responses, and the unconscious workings of your mind. Self-awareness is the looking glass through which you observe and understand your inner workings. It's the key to unlocking self-improvement and personal growth. It's about knowing what makes you tick, why you react a certain way in specific situations, what habits you've formed over the years, and what triggers emotional responses within you. This journey of self-discovery is not always comfortable. It can be challenging and even daunting, but it's a journey worth embarking upon, because when we are self-aware, we are in a better position to identify and address aspects of ourselves that need improvement. Now that we understand the importance of self-awareness, let's delve into identifying some red flags you shouldn't ignore in yourself. First up on our list of red flags is procrastination. Procrastination, that all too familiar foe. It's the act of delaying or postponing tasks or actions, often ones that require our immediate attention. But why do we do it? Why do we let the ticking clock get the better of us, even when we're fully aware of the looming deadlines and the mounting tasks? Well, procrastination isn't always a simple case of laziness. In fact, it's often a red flag for deeper issues. Imagine an iceberg, its peak just above the water's surface, while its bulk remains hidden beneath. Procrastination is like that peak, a visible sign of the unseen. One such hidden aspect could be the fear of failure. When we procrastinate, we might be unconsciously avoiding the possibility of failure. By not starting, we protect ourselves from the potential disappointment or criticism that might follow if we don't succeed. Another possible cause is perfectionism. The desire to make everything just right can be overwhelming, leading us to delay starting a task because we're worried it won't meet our high standards. But remember, perfection is a myth, and striving for it only leads to unnecessary stress and anxiety, or perhaps lack of motivation is at play. When we're not invested in what we're doing or don't see the value in it, it's easy to push it to the back burner. It's vital, however, to find what drives us, what makes us want to jump out of bed in the morning ready to seize the day. The impacts of procrastination can be far-reaching, affecting different aspects of our lives negatively. It can lead to stress, guilt, and the loss of productivity, not to mention the potential damage to our personal and professional relationships as a result of missed deadlines or unfulfilled commitments. So, the next time you find yourself delaying a task, take a moment to ask why. Is it fear, perfectionism, or lack of motivation, or perhaps something else entirely? Whatever the reason, it's important to confront it head on. Procrastination isn't just about being lazy, it's often a sign of something more. Next on our list is constant comparison. It's a sneaky little red flag that often goes unnoticed, but it's one that can significantly impact our sense of self-worth and overall happiness. Now, why is this a red flag? Well, when we constantly compare ourselves to others, we set ourselves up for a never-ending cycle of dissatisfaction. It's a race with no finish line because there will always be someone who seems to be doing better, looking better, or living better. This habit can lead to feelings of inadequacy and low self-esteem, leaving us feeling like we're never quite good enough. And let's not forget about the joy thief that is comparison. It can rob us of our happiness and contentment, leaving us in a state of perpetual longing for what others have. This constant yearning can detract from our own success, making us blind to our growth and accomplishments. So how do we curb this habit? It starts with a shift in perspective. Instead of focusing on how we stack up against others, we need to turn our attention inward and concentrate on our personal growth. It's about acknowledging and celebrating our individual achievements, no matter how small they may seem. Remember, life isn't a competition. Everyone is on their own unique journey, and it's not fair or productive to compare your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 20. What matters is that you're making progress. that you're better today than you were yesterday. This also means learning to appreciate others' success without feeling threatened or inadequate. Celebrate their achievements as a testament to human potential, not as a benchmark against which you fall short. Developing this mindset can be challenging, but it's a crucial step towards fostering self-esteem and contentment. It allows us to find joy and satisfaction in our own journey, rather than constantly seeking validation from external sources. Remember, the only person you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. So let's focus on being our best selves, on celebrating our personal growth and achievements, rather than getting caught up in the comparison game. The third red flag is neglecting self-care. Picture this. You're an engine, a well-oiled machine that's designed to perform at its peak. But what happens when that engine is not maintained? It breaks down, right? That's exactly what happens when we neglect self-care. Self-care is like the maintenance for our mind, body, and soul. It's about taking the time to cater to our physical, emotional, and mental needs. It's about nourishing ourselves so that we can be the best version of ourselves. But when we neglect it, we're essentially running on empty. Physical self-care is often the most apparent. It's about ensuring that our bodies are well nourished, adequately rested, and regularly exercised. But when we consistently skip meals, pull all-nighters, or ignore our fitness, we're setting ourselves up for a plethora of health issues. We're essentially pushing our bodies to the brink of exhaustion and beyond. Emotional self-care is about acknowledging our feelings, allowing ourselves to experience them without judgment, and taking steps to manage them effectively. When we neglect this aspect, we're denying ourselves the chance to process our emotions, leading to emotional burnout and even mental health issues. Mental self-care involves activities that help declutter our minds. This could be anything from meditating, reading, to simply sitting in silence. When we neglect our mental health, we're allowing stress and anxiety to build up, which can lead to a state of constant overwhelm. Neglecting self-care is a serious red flag because it's a sign that we're not prioritizing ourselves. We're putting everything and everyone else before our own needs. This isn't sustainable, and eventually it will lead to burnout. And let's be clear, burnout isn't just about being tired. It's a state of chronic physical and mental exhaustion that can take a serious toll on our overall health and well-being. So remember, you're not being selfish when you take care of yourself. You're not wasting time or being lazy. You're simply ensuring that you're in the best possible condition to tackle life's challenges. Taking care of yourself isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Our final red flag is not taking responsibility for actions. In the journey of self-improvement, it's crucial to recognize that our actions and the consequences they bring rest squarely on our shoulders. When we fail to take responsibility for our actions, we create a destructive pattern that not only impedes our personal growth, but can also strain our relationships. Let's take a moment to understand why owning up to our mistakes is so important. Imagine you're on a boat with a small leak. If you ignore it, blaming the boat or the water, the hole will only grow larger until eventually the boat sinks. But if you acknowledge the leak and take immediate action to fix it, you save not only the boat, but also the journey you're on. This is the power of taking responsibility. It's about acknowledging the leak in our actions and taking steps to mend it. When we blame others or circumstances for our actions, we give up our power to change. We become victims of our environment rather than masters of our destiny. This victim mentality is a dangerous trap. It leaves us feeling powerless, frustrated, and stuck. Not taking responsibility can also damage our relationships. When we refuse to acknowledge our mistakes, we erode trust and respect. Others may start to see us as unreliable or untrustworthy, making it difficult to maintain healthy relationships. But here's the good news. Taking responsibility for our actions is a skill that can be learned and cultivated. It starts with being honest with ourselves, acknowledging our mistakes, and seeing them as opportunities for growth rather than failures. Next, it's about making a conscious effort to change. This could mean apologizing when we're wrong, making amends, or simply doing better next time. Remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being accountable. In this journey of self-improvement, each step we take towards responsibility is a step towards empowerment. It's about reclaiming the power to shape our lives and becoming the best version of ourselves. Remember, taking responsibility is the first step towards improvement. So there you have it, 4 red flags you shouldn't ignore in yourself. Let's take a moment to recall them. First, procrastination, the thief of time that hinders productivity and growth. Second, the habit of constantly comparing yourself to others, which can rob you of joy and self-confidence. Third, neglecting self-care, a slippery slope that can lead to burnout and negatively affect your mental and physical health. And lastly, not taking responsibility for your actions, a trait that hinders personal development and damages relationships. Each of these red flags is a sign that something needs to change. They're calls to action, urging you to become more self-aware, to understand your patterns, and to strive for self-improvement. Remember, these are not indictments, but opportunities for growth. Take them as a challenge, embrace them, work on them, one day at a time. Remember, the journey to self-improvement starts with self-awareness. Begin today and see the difference it makes.